has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. It's Ferrall on the bench in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad seed, broken in the bad apple with a bad attitude, hanging around the bad tape, bad law, bad dude, bad breath, bad vibes. We are live in the Magic City Studios in the Ferrall Place in New York City. People just passing bags, red in traffic, along with Mike Carver. Hi, we got a good show for you today. Gabe Morency will join us from Vancouver. Brady Cannon on Live, Davis Maddock on the Lion's Share, Keith Stewart talking golf as well, plus Joey Prawns, also known as Go for the Two, Lisi, a special draft preview today. This is Coast to Coast on a midweek Where Do You Hurt Wednesday. We got afternoon day ball, Carver. Hi, what's going on around the majors?
Yeah, happy Wednesday to you, Scotty. And yes, I heard you say all that. You know, you're usually doing community service on Wednesdays, and I just had to still, you know, we have golf Wednesdays on C2C when you were out doing community service. I couldn't keep that away, even though you were in the building today. We got to still do it. Gotta have it. Yes, we do have some day ball this afternoon, and that is where we are going to start. Kind of light for a Wednesday. Usually we have a lot more games to get us going in the day ball, but only one so far. The Cardinals lead the Diamondbacks 2-1. That is in the bottom of the seventh as they're flying along there. As the Cardinals just picked up a couple runs in the bottom of the sixth, so we'll see if they can close this one out. The Arizona destroyed them last night, 3-1 now, Mafia is telling me. So 3-1 for the Cards as they extend over the Arizona Diamondbacks. I have two games in the afternoon as well that have yet to start that I figured we could go to the window with here. The Mets will finish off their series in San Francisco against the Giants. Giants beat them last night behind a sparkling effort from Logan Webb, Scotty. He has 19 straight scoreless innings now for the Giants. Blake Snell was supposed to start this game this afternoon for the Giants. That is not going to happen now. Scratched from his start, goes on the IL, the old abductor strain. What do you think? You think you should send that doctor bill, Scotty, to Boris, considering, I don't know, he could have signed like 4 months ago and had like a real spring training instead of being rushed out there after signing a week before the season and getting his abductor strain 2 or 3 weeks in? Nice job, Scott, getting your client hurt.
I mean, so far so bad in San Francisco for Blake Snell. He's done nothing. Now he's injured. They're going for the sweep today. They're going to stick Walker in there against Manaea. I'm going to still go with them. They beat him last night with Webb, and I said yesterday I was on the Mets, but I was like, this is their best pitcher, Webb, so he's tough to deal with. It won't be easy. If they're able to do those first two, why not sweep them?
Why not sweep them? Right now, the Mets with Manaea actually minus 115. Giants minus 105 with a 7.5 total here this afternoon in that one. The other day ball game that I am going to have for you here is Orioles finishing off that series in Anaheim against the Angels. Angels did actually beat them last night, Scotty. Homer for Trout, his 9th of the year. He's looked very healthy and very good so far for Anaheim, and they will send Tyler Anderson out against the Dean. Dean Kramer, going for the O's, who are minus 135, plus $1.15 for Anaheim, and a fat 9.5 on a getaway afternoon out in Cali.
Coffee and Kramer has been pretty average. His ERA is hovering around 5. Meanwhile, Anderson has been pretty tough. A 1.4 ERA at this point. I'm going to take a stab with the Angels here again.
Ooh, and that was another bomb from Trout last night. We've been saying this here since the start. He actually looks like the Trout from 4 or 5 years ago now, right? Actually looks healthy, destroying the baseball. The team still kind of sucks, but at least he looks healthy for now, like his old self.
Well, as long as he's happy, because if Ohtani left, I wouldn't be.
Yeah, He would like to, but we've said this a few times, right? He just doesn't seem to care and likes that easy Southern California living, playing for the second team in town. Not even in the same town. We've said this a billion times. Anaheim's another world compared to Los Angeles. It's another world.
Who doesn't like Southern California? I mean, honestly, people that hate it love it. I mean, honestly, the people that hate it, everybody there loves Southern California. The homeless people love it. They got a great tan. Everybody's happy.
Everybody should be happy. Everyone should be happy down there, that's for sure. So there's your day ball. 1 live, 2 about to start.
I got 5 left.
You got 5
If
more.
I was living in a tent, I would somehow find real estate near Dodger Stadium so that I could somehow finagle Dodger dogs into my daily repertoire of eating. Like if I'm not going to get any food, I got to mooch, I got to roll the dice, try to get somebody to bring me out a Dodger dog. Some fan has to feel bad for me. I would set up my camp. As you know, you've seen a lot of that lately with protests. The camps around Columbia and New York City, there's a lot of protesters. Get them Dodger dogs, and then they'd all stop complaining.
See, that's another thing that LA has over Anaheim, right? Not only is the team better, they got better food options at the game. They got the Dodger dogs over there in Chavez Ravine, which is much better than whatever they're slinging down in Anaheim at the Big A. There you go. The day ball, 2 games about to start in the next hour. We will have our eye on those. Let's also start today with the NBA because we finally cracked the egg last night, Scotty. You thought it would happen. The big run of home teams winning and holding serve in the NBA playoffs finally came to a close. 2 out of the 3 road teams did win straight up last night. Let's start with the late game. And why not? We've spent so much time talking about Los Angeles. We'll start there here with the hoops, too. Mavericks beating the Clippers 96-93. They evened this series at 1 game apiece. Luka, Scotty, late, getting involved, and then giving the business to the LA fans as well on TNT.
18 of 32, 41%. Doncic, 5 to shoot. Against Harden. Doncic lines it up. It goes! He is that guy! 90-81. The Mavericks have their largest lead with 1:26 to go in LA.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I just want to apologize here today early in the show for getting, all 3 NBA games right last night. And I mean, I hate to say it, but the fact that I was able to hit 2 of the 3 NHL playoff games as well. I'm so sorry that I hit 6 of the 7 games. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I know there's, just a lot of people get flustered when I hit a lot of bets. They get flustered.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will find a reason to be upset, right?
Someone around here has got to be upset with me.
Somebody will be upset.
Blame Ferrall for hitting too many bets. Blame Ferrall.
It's unfortunate. You're just too good sometimes. And last night was another one of those nights.
There's got to be something bad going on if I'm involved in it.
Luka had 32 for the Mavs as they get the job done here. I probably don't have enough time. I'll have to wait on Kyrie and Kawhi. I think I could slide the Kyrie in. Come on, let's get Kyrie in here very quickly. Once again with Kyrie, failure has inspired him. Here we go.
Yeah, I think failure will inspire you more than you can imagine. And not being able to make the playoffs last year definitely hurt, stung, brought a lot of pain. And the only way I, felt other than doing my prayer and meditation, but being able to express some of those emotions was going on the basketball court. I was right down the street at LA Tech, and some of my friends just being consistent with me throughout those days. I'm grateful for all those times and pushing me.
Very grateful.
I was watching playoff games and then going to the gym the next day and be like, man, we should have been in the freaking playoffs. So just imagining myself in different situations and pushing myself.
I'm just surprised he has friends.
He has friends. He just told you. He might have been lying, but he probably wasn't. I'm sure he's got a couple left.
people that bashed him will be eating their words this year. Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from what's not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only 1 day between the two games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, what's up? You watching the game? Or maybe the one later? Put a little BetMGM action on it, and now any game becomes the game. When you got overs and unders, you're in it every time they throw the ball, kick the ball, dribble the ball. Maybe it's not even a ball. Who needs a ball? Now that bet's got you watching every inning, half, round, period, set, hole, a lap. Right from the edge of your seat. Hit him with the pro ball.
All right, Morency joins us every day. You can catch Sports Rage every weeknight at 10 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid, SportsGrid TV, SportsGrid.com/watch, the SportsGrid app, on all of our affiliates, everything on the radio side, even like 1090 in San Diego, all over the West Coast, from Mexico to the Canadian Rockies. Of course, Sports Byline USA, SiriusXM Channel 159. Tonight at 10, Sports Rage. Don't miss it. All the kids are watching. Everybody digs Morency. All right, Morency, I want to start with the NBA. I hit all 3 games last night. How did you do in those 3 games, and what are you looking at for tonight's doubleheader of Pro Rack playoffs?
Yeah, last night everything fell into place for us, Scott. We talked about liking the Minnesota Timberwolves, not liking a matchup for the Phoenix Suns. Came to fruition. Nice effort last night by the Indiana Pacers. Big-time effort. Pascal Siakam. How about Pascal Siakam?
He's a badass.
No, seriously. He was underappreciated with the Toronto Raptors. And is it just me, Scott? Or maybe would the Raptors been better off keeping Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby? Aren't they pretty good players?
Yeah, really.
Like seriously. Like the Knicks are 22-3 with OG Anunoby in the lineup this year. They're literally 22-3 now. And Pascal Siakam freaking dropped 37, bro. Looks like a mega superstar out there, but no, we're gonna rebuild a team around Scotty Barnes. I think that's the way to go. We don't want to pay Siakam all that money. Okay, well that's why that's why you had a 15-game losing streak in the regular season. Yeah, and listen, RJ Barrett's okay, but Siakam, bro, the guy's a star. He really is. And what I love about Siakam, Scott, you watch the NBA as much as anybody. You watch guys' games. He gets better. Like, he actually tries to get better. You know what I mean? He's not one of these dudes, well, I'm in the NBA, I am who I am. No, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's better in the paint, he's a better shooter now. Like, he improves his game on a yearly basis, which is super impressive. right? It's not like, oh, I'm who I am. I won a championship. I score 22 a night, because he does. Guy scores 22, 23 automatic, Scott. Right? Yeah. As sure as the sun sets, like he's going to give you the 22, 23. But now he's starting to give you those 32, the 37s, the 29s, the passing, the rebound, the defenses. Man, he's a baller, bro. What a game from him last night.
You can prop him. I propped him last night for the over and hit that too. He's a freak of nature. You know, he works hard, gets his space, gets to his spots that he likes. And then the rest is just all out, like all out behavior. He goes all out on 50-50 balls, goes all out on the glass, goes all out on both ends, offensive, defensive boards. Guy works to get the ball in his hands and then puts it in the hole. I love his game. I like betting on him. This is a good team. And I said that last night in the other game, the key for me was Mike Conley shot so horribly in game one that he was never going to have a bad game back-to-back shooting, because he has great control over his J. He had scoop shots with his left hand going last night, hit a bunch of J's. At one point, he was like 7 of 8 from the floor. I thought Conley, the difference in him added to what they had going with everybody else. All the bench guys, not bench, but the nobodies on that team went off last night in mini.
That's the whole thing, too. Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm a big T-Wolf backer. I like Walker. I like the depth of the team. I like the defensive style that they play. But as far as the Mavericks are concerned, you're right. Listen, you know what Luka's going to do. You know what Kyrie's going to do. You need others to step up, just point blank. And we're seeing that right now. Similar situation. Minnesota needs points, right? When Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't on the floor, Conley steps up, starts popping those threes for them. Now they go back to the desert. Listen, I would expect Phoenix to win game 3, but I don't think they're going to win the series. They probably go back to Minneapolis with a split. I do lean Phoenix there. I know they're not playing till Friday night, but I do think Phoenix will get the win on Friday night.
All right, what's your action going for tomorrow's NFL draft in Detroit? I know you got a lot of great picks there.
I'm starting to stockpile the plays a little bit here, Scott. My portfolio is really starting to grow, and people are expecting this to be the most offensive players ever taken in an NFL draft before. The record is 19 for the record. So 19 offensive players. It's happened 3 times before. People are expecting 22 offensive players, Scott. So I've got a bet in over 20.5. I laid a little juice, but I parlayed it with the New York Rangers last night. So now,
nice.
Now I just need 21 players to be taken. I got Marvin Harrison going to the Arizona Cardinals. All right, I got this in at -180. I'm stone cold locked in on this one. We like Brock Bowers to be a top 10 pick, Scott, the tight end out of Georgia. I don't think he's going to get past the New York Jets at 10. The Tennessee Titans might pull the trigger. Hey, maybe the Giants pull the trigger. Maybe the Chargers pull the trigger. He's just too talented for me that he's going to fall all the way to 11. And we got total offensive linemen in the first round, under 9.5 offensive linemen. I'm locked in on Jaden Daniels to be the second pick. But if we start to get into some player props here, Scott, Jared Verse. I'm a big Jared Verse fan, all right? Defensive edge lineman out of Florida State.
Florida State, yeah.
Yeah, he's a baller, this kid. He wasn't a big-time recruit, Scott. He's from Albany, New York, which isn't like a football hub. And he just worked his ass off and became a stud. He's a physical specimen. I think the Rams are going to take him with the 19th pick, like specifically. So I'm going to, they need someone to replace Aaron Donald. I think it's a good fit there. And his prop is actually 16.5. So that's another bet that I have. Jared Verse over. And I'm going to start, I got some specific, I'm going to take some shots with I think Michael Penix is going to end up on the Raiders. So I'll roll the dice with that. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a Viking. I'll roll the dice with that as well.
Yeah, and I like that kid Williams out of Missouri, the defensive end. I could see him stealing a spot. A lot of people have him down a little bit more. I think he's the baddest. When we come back with Morency, we'll talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs.
people that bashed him will be eating their words this year. Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from what's not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only one day between the two games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We're talking to Morency on Coast to Coast. Good to have you with us. Let's start with the Canucks. I bet on Nashville, and I said why. I don't buy Casey DeSmith. I never bought Jari. I never bought DeSmith. I wish they would have got rid of both of them. Instead, now they got the Ned playing in net, and they're all golfing and fishing in Cancun, not in the playoffs. But your boy came in last night and had to, take over the job for the Canucks, and they got whacked.
They did not lose, though, because of the goaltending. They couldn't score, just point blank. Now, I'm not going to deny I didn't like one of the goals. Smith he kind of fights the puck. What happened, Scott, is Nashville scored like a minute into the game. By flicking the puck at the net, it bounced off like two bodies and went in the net. Like it wasn't the goalie couldn't do anything about it. It was one of those just fluke hockey god type of goals to make his life more difficult. And, there was a goal, he fought the puck a little bit. There was one that bounced off his chest protector. It led to a rebound. It led to a goal that you'd like to see him control a little bit more. But no, Scott, it was unbelievable last night. The Nashville Predators, the amount of shots that these guys blocked last night, to put in perspective. So, people would say, the Vancouver Canucks played poorly. I was at game one. They played better last night than they did in game one, but that's hockey.
Really?
They had a plus 48 shot differential last night, Scott. Plus 48. It was their largest shot differential in a game since 2010. Okay? They had 84 shot attempts last night to Nashville's 36. 84. It's insane. It was a shooting gallery last night, but let's give credit to the Nashville Predators, man. They blocked every one of these shots. They sacrificed their body. They were limping off the ice. They took pucks off the knee. They took pucks off the ankle, off the foot, off the toes. They were blocking everything. And to Vancouver's fault, they kept shooting right into them. Right? It was like, guys, figure it out. Like, they're blocking the shot. So how about you give them a little fake and go around them? Because you keep on doing the same thing. Like, Pettersson had 9 shots last night. I think like 6 of them were blocked. Like, he kept on shooting the same shot over and over and expecting a different result. So whether it was Demko, whether it was Casey DeSmith, or whether it was me between the pipes last night, Vancouver couldn't buy a goal last night. That's the way it is, Scott. You know hockey. Dude, you get 84 shot attempts. You figure you're going to score, right? More than one goal.
You would
hockey.
think.
It's the way it works out.
Yeah, one
but
thing led to another.
Does need to tighten up, though. He does need to tighten up those rebounds on Friday.
They can't give up 4 goals a game and expect to win. Colorado put 5 in Ferrallapeg last night, and even that series, the overtime game was in Sunrise. Florida gets it done as usual. All they do is win. And the Rangers had to work for that 4-3 win over the Capitals at the Garden.
We saw that was quite a gutsy effort from the Caps last night. We saw from the onset the desperation. It's the one thing about NHL teams, man. You're going to get a better effort. We saw it with Nashville after losing Game 1, Scott. We saw it with the Washington Capitals after losing Game 1. We saw it with the Toronto Maple Leafs after losing Game 1.
Right.
And the Capitals just don't quite have enough. So, it looks like the same thing with the Colorado Avalanche. But, props to the Caps. They gave them all they can give. They probably get swept. Maybe they win one game in Washington if they catch New York sort of taking them lightly, or they take the pedal off the metal a little bit, which I don't think they will. I think the Rangers understand the big picture, and it's easier to win the cup the less games you play.
You're right.
You know what I mean? This is such a wear and tear on your body, man, the NHL playoffs. You don't want to play unnecessary games because you want to watch the other teams go 7 games. But you talk about goaltending, Scott. How about Connor Hellebuck, who's supposedly supposed to be one of the best goalies in the NHL? How about this? Last 6 playoff games, he's got a save percentage of .876. His goals against average is .434. The Jets are screwed if he can't stop a puck.
It's amazing because in the regular season, every game that they played was a 5.5 total. So tonight, Boston's in Toronto, Vegas and Dallas up 1 in that series. I think Dallas will be flying tonight. And L.A. really has their backs to the wall in Edmonton. They need to get one. They need to play better than they did in the 7-4 loss.
Tricky card tonight. It's hard to trust the Leafs, but I'm going to roll the dice with the Leafs tonight. I think Dallas do get it done, Scott. It was 80 cents overnight. I see 60 cents now. It's more tolerable.
Right.
And I think the same result. I think the Oilers win, but not a blowout tonight.
Oh, all right, Morency. Great stuff. Enjoy the games tonight.
Thanks, Scott.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year. Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only 1 day between the 2 games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
BetMGM is simply the best sports book, and they got the best mobile app, and they got the best deals. How about the first bet offer of $1,500? How do you get it? Well, you download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up, deposit at least $10 into your new account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. If the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. How can you top the BetMGM first bet $1,500 back in bonus bets? You cannot top that anywhere. All right, Carver High, we continue on with the NBA.
Yeah, one more thing, Scotty, from this Clipper-Mav game from last night. I just wanted to give you Kawhi because, of course, he returned last night. He had not played since March the 31st. Coming back, he was good at shoot-around, got in the game 35 minutes, 7 for 17 from the floor. Not the best performance. He says, what do you expect? I haven't played in a while.
Where are you conditioning-wise right now?
It's my first game in like 20-something days, but I don't know. I'm not measuring that. We got to be better as a unit overall, and, it starts with me, and, I got to, even if my win is low, I got to find a way.
I don't think he'll have 2 bad games in a row. My man can flat out score. There is doubt around his game with his body. He's always got something wrong with him. It's just unbelievable the amount of injuries that he gets, but it is what it is. When he plays and he's in his element, if you will, he can be very dynamic and score at will. And he can knock down shots from anywhere at will. So I actually don't believe, I didn't play for a week, and I went out this morning and played, and I was like, I looked at this dude on the sideline after one of the games, and I go, yeah, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I didn't feel strong. I didn't have wind. I didn't have energy. I didn't have anything. And then, I still played, but I didn't do anything. And I think that's kind of the deal. You don't play for 20 days. You aren't going to walk out there and start dealing on people when you've gassed out for 20 days. I bet the next game he has a way better game.
I would bet that as well. I'll be going for the overs there with them on Friday.
Same thing I said with Conley, Mike. I told you Conley was going to have a huge game last night because he does not shoot that poorly ever. And he went out and shot the lights out.
The first road team to win, we mentioned the Mavs did win, but the Pacers also were. They played before them. 125-128 in Milwaukee over the Bucks. Pascal Siakam with 37 had himself a huge night. I'm actually going to, forget Carlisle, Scotty, because honestly, he's stiff as a board. We saw that yesterday. I found this Bobby Portis stuff. I thought it was even better. Let's do Doc first, though. Here's Doc talking about afterwards, basically saying what was true. They got beat up physically by the Pacers in this game.
I just thought they were more physical. The reason we were on the floor is because they put us on the floor. I thought they were on the floor in the first game. And they flipped it on us tonight. So, what should they do? They should do that, right? And it is personal. We're trying to win something that they want. They're trying to win something we want, and the game should be personal. So, it's 1-1. We'd love to go be 2-0, but it's 1-1. We go to Indiana and go win a game or 2.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, listen, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before this guy loses again. So if you don't have, in my view, Giannis Antetokounmpo out on the floor soon, they're going to lose this series. Because with him, the Pacers owned the Bucks. Without him, the Pacers will beat the Bucks. It's just that simple. And Siakam was unbelievable. Honestly, I got to just give you this. 16 of 23 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3, 2 of 3 from the line in 36 minutes. No turnovers. I mean, you got to be kidding me. 37 points, 11 rebounds, 6 dimes. You talk about a monster double-double of near perfection. Siakam's that guy.
He really is. And you mentioned Giannis, so I'll give you the update that I saw this morning on him, which was from The Athletic. It says that Giannis has started to do some stationary jump shooting. Still not much cutting, not scrimmaging, not running yet. Seems like the Bucs have to be prepared to keep going without him. He's not playing. You got that precisely right. He's not playing anytime soon. All right, here's Bobby Portis. So I guess after Doc talked, they went and found Portis there in the hallway and asked him about the physicality and them, being more physical than them. Portis really didn't want to hear that.
Quite frankly, they front runners, bro. Y'all can just tweet that, whatever it is, bro. I mean, when it's going good, we laugh and clap and all that. When it's going bad, then they not saying nothing. So I think to answer the question, guys always feel good when they having a good game and hitting shots. Everybody, I think that's just, human nature in basketball. When you're making shots, you're feeling good. But when the tough going, you can't get nothing going, you kind of go the other way. So, yeah, they supposed to feel good. They was hitting shots. They game plan for really well. And, yeah, they're supposed to feel good, of course. But game 3 on the way Friday.
I think he's right, Scotty. They front runners, he said about the Pacers. Wow. They just front runners.
Look, here's the deal. He's right about one thing. When you're knocking down shots and you're winning, you feel good. Real simple. He's right about that.
He's right about that. And sure enough, they will play.
That guy has got massive real estate there. I mean, they just think he is the greatest thing ever. Every time the guy comes out of the game, they chant his name, and they just absolutely adore this guy. He should think long and hard before he ever considers leaving there. He's got the cushy gig in Milwaukee. They think he can do no wrong.
You got a lot of juice there, that's for sure. A lot of juice. And finally, the T-Wolves beat up on the Suns again, Scotty, 105-93. Close game for a half, and the Timberwolves rolled them in the third quarter of this game. And really, it wasn't even Ant, Scotty, who was getting them last night. It was Jaden McDaniels who had himself a huge game. Your boy had 25 points, getting it done in the fourth quarter on TNT.
And without your best player on the floor in Anthony Edwards, so impressive here what the Timberwolves have been able to do. McDaniels slithers in this game here in the second. Remember, Minnesota was down a point at halftime. McDaniels keeps on coming.
Yeah, I thought he had a great game. 10 of 17 from the floor, 2 of 4 from downtown, 3 of 4 from the line in 41 minutes. He had 1 turnover. Look, I thought, obviously Ant had a bad game, 3 of 12, but Conley didn't. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 dimes. I thought he played great. 3 threes, 1 of 1 on his free throws. 2 turnovers in the whole game. I thought Conley was the difference. Obviously, Gobert went 18 and 9. I thought he had a strong game as well. And for being in as much foul trouble as he was, I thought Cat Towns also played pretty well in the second half.
Yeah, and on the other side, Scotty, I just thought the Suns looked absolutely lifeless again. Yeah. They just gave you absolutely nothing. Look like they don't want to be there. Maybe that's going to change when they get themselves back to Phoenix. And later on, I'll play you Durant talking about it. But they just do not look like they are long for these NBA playoffs. So once again, the big Durant threesome didn't work in Brooklyn. And now he's got Booker and Beal in Phoenix. It ain't going to work there either, it looks like.
I think it really hurt him that Allen went down with an ankle. You got to remember he led the NBA in threes this year. And he left the game, never came back. Durant had 18. Beal, I thought shot relatively, poor. He ended up with 14. Booker had 20 in the game. I thought Gordon played a strong game for the Suns with his 15 spot. It's just not good enough. They are going to play their asses off in Game 3 in Phoenix. You can guarantee that. They will be a different team in the desert.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year. Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy, in the first half of the first round. You clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only 1 day between the two games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, Ferrall, coast to coast here on a Wednesday. Carver High here with you. Scotty be back in a moment. It is Golf Wednesdays as well on C2C, which we always love. And we are going to get ready for Live this week. Live is back after a couple weeks off. They're on the other side of the world from us, but they are back. And Brady Cannon is back with us as well. And he's taking, this is a big task for Brady now. He's 1-0 in our live spots so far this season. As he had the Dean last time out in Miami. We're heading to Australia. We're heading to Adelaide. Brady, great to see you as always.
Yeah, Mike, we were talking there backstage. I should just quit and bat 1,000 for the rest of my life on the live circuit. But no, we're diving back in, my friend. And I love doing these little spots because it gets me handicapping this tour and gets me interested. And, you know, I've talked about it many times. There's a lot of players on this tour that I don't really care about. But there's a dozen or so that are still very interesting, engaging, compelling golf personalities. Hopefully they'll all come together once again with the PGA Tour and we can start fresh and have those guys back in the fold. But you mentioned Adelaide, the Grange golf course, a very small golf course. Rarely on any tour do we get a golf course this short, under 7,000 yards. Tree-lined, narrow fairways, dog legs in both directions. And I used that in my handicap this week, Mike. I compared it to Harbour Town, where we just were on the PGA Tour. You know, that's a very claustrophobic, tight, tree-lined course with dog legs in both directions, which also compares very well to TPC Sawgrass. So I looked at that. And then also Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, where they play the Charles Schwab Challenge. Those courses are all similar, and I don't really know this golf course in Adelaide all that well, but from what I could tell online, looking at the flyovers and everything, I think those are three pretty decent comp courses.
And what I also like about this course, Brady, is they've tried to incorporate a little bit of like the TPC Scottsdale type of scene that they have there, and they've done that with this watering hole course, hole on number 12, the par 3. Chase Koepka had the hole-in-one there last year. Everybody threw the beer cans on like they do at the WM in Phoenix. So I think that that's a cool aspect. I saw Cameron Smith talking about this event this morning. Of course, him being an Aussie and his team that he has saying, you know, this is what we should be doing. And I think he's kind of right. Playing these international courses that maybe fans have not seen a lot, I think it's a perfect time for us too, Brady, when you talk about betting it, because It's Thursday. It's being on the other side. Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, 9:30 East at night. Tee off for me, 6:30 for you out west in Vegas. Helps to watch as well for us here in the States with that time.
Absolutely. It's just like any sport. The same theory applies. If you've got a couple bucks on it, you're more likely to watch. And I had never watched a live event, in the history of the live circuit, which is, 2.5 years old now or so, until, we got involved in this segment and covering this on SportsGrid on not a weekly basis, but for every tournament that they get going. And, it has me interested. It has my eyeballs on it. And like I say, hopefully you get the cream of the crop rising to the top, because those are the players I really care about. There's a lot of guys, the top 30 or so on this circuit, some of them you haven't even heard of. But, the Dustin Johnsons and the Koepkas and John Rahm and Joaquin Niemann, hey, no matter where they play, they're still exciting.
There's a few guys I used to bet on all the time that I love, and I obviously don't see them anymore on the PGA. Guys like, I used to bet Cameron Tringali like I had a problem, Brady, and now he's
maybe
here
you
on
did. Maybe you did have a problem.
Yeah, him and Sebastian Munoz, I could never quit them for those first-round leaders back in the day, and now I can find them here at Live. All right, let's get down to it, me and you, the picks for this weekend in Adelaide in Australia. Here is where I am going to go, Brady, for myself. I'm going to go with the hometown guy. I think Cameron Smith is going to try to go a little extra this week, obviously being down there. He's talked about it glowingly. I don't think he played poorly at the Masters. Finished in the top 10, 10-1 for him, so a little chalky. Gooch destroyed this place last year on his way to a win, so he's 14-1. I feel like DJ's got to show up with – he played so bad at the Masters. I feel like he's got to show up with a little bit of something on his shoulder, a little chip on his shoulder, and I'll bomb it with Garcia because Brady – Garcia's been in a lot of these events on Live. He's lost in a bunch of playoffs. Seems like he has shown up. That's where I'm going to go for the big board.
Yeah, you're right about Sergio. He's been a little bit surprising. I mean, he was so off for basically ever since he won the Masters. But no, you're right. And thankfully, Dean Burmester was able to get past him in Miami a few weeks ago for that winner we had because, once again, Sergio was in a playoff there. I went with guys, and when we were talking Miami, Burmester, Moronk, I think those were my only two plays, big hitters. I went with big, long bombers off the tee. A little bit different this week. I went with the shorter knockers, that kind of fit that Harbour Town Colonial mold. I started with Tyrrell Hatton at 12-1. This guy's been very good as of late. He was 8th at Mayakoba on the Live Circuit, which is another accuracy-based golf course. He was 4th 4 weeks ago in Miami, and then 9th at the Masters. He's 4th in putting on the Live Tour, 8th in scrambling, and 11th in birdies. He's done very well at the Players Championship and Colonial, and also Harbour Town. Abraham Answer at 25-1. 2nd on the Live Tour in fairways hit, 5th in birdies. You mentioned how Taylor Gooch destroyed this place. It is going to be a birdie fest, and you're going to have to go low. He's also finished runner-up at Harbour Town, never missed a cut at the Players, 2 top 15s at Colonial. And then Kevin Na at 65-1, the perennial short knocker, great with the flat stick, great scrambler, has some good finishes as of late. He's been money at Harbour Town. He's won at Colonial. And then I added one here just moments before the show. Jason Kokrak. Jason Kokrak at 60-1 kind of is more the mold of a bigger hitter, but this guy has top 10s at Harbour Town. He's got a top 10 at TPC Sawgrass, and he's also won at Colonial. I think he can dial it down, take the driver out of the bag, hit some irons off the tee. He's shown that he can perform on these shorter tracks.
I hit him at Colonial that time, Brady. I used to not quit Jason Kokrak
I did too.
either, and we
I did too.
I'll throw you a bonus ball before we leave. Plus 300 for a hole-in-one on the watering hole. Chase kept doing it last year.
Let's do it.
Let's get a little fun with the hole-in-one out there. Get the beer thrown. Brady Cannon with a Live Golf. We're back in
people that bashed him will be eating their words this year. Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only 1 day between the two games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Hey, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Brady Cannon getting involved with Carver High. Nice. And more golf later on this very program. Ferrall with
Yep, golf Wednesdays. We go from Live, and then we'll do the PGA, which is in one of your favorite places this week, Scotty, New Orleans, at the Zurich Classic this week. And the good news for everyone is Scheffler's taking the week off. So there's no Scotty Scheffler this week.
There's an opening.
There's an
opportunity
opening for us this week at the Zurich. Let's finish up last night's NBA. Top of the hour, we'll get into tonight's games. Only 2 games tonight, which, let's be honest, is weak. Why we can't at least have 3 games on the schedule tonight? Here's Durant. Here's Durant after the game. Simply, here he is with Booker. Both these guys look miserable. What went wrong last night, Kevin? Let's go.
Yeah, they went on a run. I mean, we was trying to figure it out. More than anything, they just played great ball, you know. And we trying our best to, you know, get out of those little slumps when we, you know, go on a 7-8-0 run. And I think we still try to put ourselves in position to win there. We cut it like 13, like 12, but we just couldn't get over that hump. So this team's been killing us in the third with those runs, so we got to figure that out.
Yeah, I think they need to, frankly, go at a different pace and shoot more. I mean, I got to get more than 15 shots for him. I got to get more than 17 shots for Beal. I got to get clearly more than 13 shots for D-Book. You want a recipe for losing? There it is. These 3 guys have to score more and shoot more and get more opportunities. And to be honest with you, I think the guy that played the best was Nurkic at the end of the day because he had a double-double, he had 10, and he had 14 rebounds. He's doing the work, and I just don't think they're shooting enough. They're letting Minnesota control everything, the shots, the tempo, the pace, the transition game, the runs. He's right about one thing. They went on a run. They went on a bury you run. They buried them. And I thought, obviously, McDaniels was unbelievable. You know what I liked about his game last night was that he didn't get caught up in it. He just looked like a guy that was flat out balling, and he didn't get excited, changed his demeanor one iota off of hitting big shots or making big plays or slithering to the 10. The guy was making so many layups, it wasn't even funny. And they didn't play defense. The Suns don't play defense. They don't. They let guys shoot layups and dunks left and right. It's embarrassing.
It certainly is. Although, look, this is one of those series, as lifeless as the Suns have looked, would it completely stun you, Scotty, if they went and won both games in Phoenix?
No.
And we went back 2-2 in Minnesota? Probably wouldn't stun you, as lifeless as they looked in these first two. I can see it.
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
I mean,
could
it's
see it.
Automatic. They will go back, I believe. Now, I heard Morency. I believe that they'll go back to Minneapolis 2-2.
Okay. Hey, home teams have been winning. We've talked about it a lot. The other thing that's been hitting Scotty is unders. Unders have been extremely hot in the playoffs so far for the NBA. You did get one over last night, that Pacer game, but overall, 11-3 through the first 14 games to the under. These games are just tight, Scotty. You see in these games, 96-93, 103-93. It's just a very tight basketball being played so far.
Yeah, and I think tonight that ends. And not only that, I think both games go over tonight.
Ooh, both games over the total. I love to see that. We will talk about both games at the top of the hour. They started handing out the awards last night. And, you know, we try not to get too wrapped up in this stuff, but we said this a few times during the year. Maxey won the most improved player in the NBA. Wasn't he already a badass? Why was he the most improved player? That Kobe White on the Bulls, like, he was the most improved player in the NBA this year. I thought they got that way wrong, these guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I think that Kobe was unbelievable, and I agree with you. I think Tyrese already was.
Already was a badass. Stole it from Kobe White. That's what they did. All right, we will come back, and we will start hour number 2 with the 2 games tonight. The Heat looking to try to get something going in Boston against the Celtics, and then Pelicans and the Thunder getting back together after that great finish that they had on Sunday night. They will play Game 2 at the Chesapeake. We'll give you all the numbers for those when we come back.
Yeah, I got to tell you, a lot of sharps are pounding the Pelicans. And then as far as the other game, I don't see any leaks in that ship in Boston. At home, at the Garden, on that floor, in that building, I don't see the Heat doing it there at all. Not tonight, not ever.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience because you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah, the fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing. They're watching
water cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
He just tossed an air ball, like in a critical. You're up by 2 with 20 seconds. Like he said, give me the ball, LeBron James. He tossed an air ball, and there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody, and he ends up going to the free throw line.
They used Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, it's hard watching this.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.